everybody, welcome to another movie episode of Game My Mom's House. I am Mike Albertin, and it's quiet. A little too quiet.
Damn it. It's Michael K. Hughes. A little too Michael K. Hughes.
And representing the Foot Clan, Red Fox.
Like I told my brother we were watching this, I'm like, that has to be my opening line. Like, there's no other line. And then that's going to have to be the one you did too.
It's one of my favorite lines in the movie. Just so
it's the best joke in all of cinema. It's so great.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have the last part. Look, it's Ralph. A little too Ralph. Or Ralph.
Ralph, yeah. Okay.
I've never seen turtles before. I only grew up with turtles. I got no idea what it is.
Well, when you say Ralph, it makes me wonder.
Ralph, yeah.
I didn't have turtle bed sheets on my bed that are probably still on my old bed. No, not at all. That's in my parents' house.
I got a Ninja Turtles pillow on my couch right now.
I actually don't have anything turtles in my house, surprisingly, yet. I know, it's weird.
I do either. I think we have a Ralph.
Ralph.
You're
welcome.
You know what?
Absolutely your fault.
Run with it.
Well, yeah, I think we have a Raph Pop vinyl that my wife got through like a blind box or something.
Well, you don't want to see my house, and I have like everything, especially
Are they
Ralph.
still under the sheet?
Huh?
Are they still under the sheet, hidden on the table?
No, I've moved some things around.
Okay. And Mike, since this was your idea, why don't you introduce what we're talking about?
We were talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze from 1991.
Turned 30 years old just recently. Well, maybe not when you hear this, but when we recorded this recently.
Like a week and a half ago.
Yeah, made me feel old.
Oh, yeah. Not a fan.
And this was from the indie studio at the time, New Line Cinema.
The indie studio.
Well, they were an indie studio at the time, though. Like, at least in the first one, they were. They weren't a big studio.
I think this might be the movie that I most attribute to seeing that logo of theirs play out. Like, oh, it's Turtles 2.
Yeah, because they made a lot of money with the first one. This one probably made a lot of money, too, I'm assuming.
More than likely. Enough that we got a third one.
Yeah, I believe it did. I mean, and they toned it down to make it more kid-friendly, too.
Oh, yeah.
I told that to my wife right before we started watching this, or when we started watching the movie. She's like, "You just made the movie. She's like, you just ruined it for me," because I guess she didn't notice that before. She hadn't seen it in years. But yeah, oh god, they toned it down.
Yeah.
I'm like, they don't use their weapons that much. Look for that, and they don't.
Shit, even in the first one, it was limited, so this one was even worse. Like as I was watching, I was like, man, it's like all hand to hand.
Yeah, they're not. They don't have the Foot Clan swinging axes at the turtles where they're rolling around. That's for sure.
Other than Ralph catching pizza, catching pizza with his sai, like he didn't use him the rest of the movie. I don't think.
No, he does hold him upside down and hit somebody with the blunt part because that's how you use a sai, right?
The opening scene, he hands Leonardo his swords to the goon he's fighting. Like, here, hold these.
Doesn't he throw him up to the ceiling?
Yeah.
Like
he throws him up to the
use
ceiling.
Him on Toka and Razor or anything.
Donatello swings his bow staff at Toka, and that's it.
And hurts himself.
He uses it, I think, one other time, and he's kind of badass with it too when he's swinging that thing around.
I don't think we see Michelangelo's nunchucks at all in this movie.
You do.
Do you?
April has them by accident to show that she can chuck her.
Correct. That is correct.
She's been practicing her chucking.
Yeah, she's no more chucking. He has his combat cold cuts, and that's pretty much all we see him.
That's as close as we're getting on that one.
I mean, there's also a lot of parts where Donatello's staff isn't even on his back in the action scene. It's just not there at all.
It's probably hard to run with, especially in those suits.
Or do any rolling, or you name it.
I just had forgotten how kid friendly they made this movie compared to this one. That's pretty brutal.
You can imagine. I mean, besides the studio requesting it, like what kind of parental complaints they had to deal with from the first one.
I think that was the big deciding factor, is because they got so many complaints.
And money.
Oh yeah, money helps.
Yeah.
But
it worked though. I mean, I think this is one of the first movies I actually saw in the theaters as a kid. It's my earliest memory being in theaters watching this movie.
I don't know. I know my mom took me to the first one when I was like 2.5 or 3. For some reason. I don't know why she took a 2.5-year-old to the theater, but hey,
You're right.
Well, that's today. I'm like,
everybody else probably.
What are you talking about? I was a perfect child, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Mike, did you see this in theaters?
I'm pretty sure I do. I don't have a whole lot of memories of what I saw. I know we saw the third one in the drive-in, but I would imagine we saw this in theaters because my brother and I were huge into the cartoon, and we had an unhealthy amount of the toys. Like, you pull up one of those. Here's 100 Ninja Turtle figures that you forgot about. I'm like, yeah, we had that and that and that and that. It's like we were very spoiled as children.
I had a ton of them too.
We had the one the sewer thing that shut the pizza deals out.
Yeah, I had that too.
Oh, the van?
I don't think it was a van.
No, there were actual, like, the turtles had some like built mechanism thing around them. Like in front of them would be like a pizza launcher.
Oh,
I think that's what he's talking about.
Okay, this is why we have you on here.
You put the like pizza in their back and it pops out the front.
That's odd.
Here's a remake of it for the 2003 show, but it's not the same one. Sewer lid launcher, but they had actual like pizza decals on them on the 80s one. That's what everyone's here for. Forget the movie.
We want to talk about turtle toys and what we had as a kid. So I was a little surprised with this movie. Like I remembered more than I thought I would, and I was laughing more than I thought I would at the dumb movie, but it's still funny as hell.
Oh yeah, it's like people can crap on it for it being toned down and more kid friendly, but I think it makes it a more fun movie than the first one.
Yeah, I have no recollection of the first one. I mean, I watched it a year ago for the show, or more than a year ago at this point, but I just don't really remember it. I just like this one doesn't. I want to say this one starts off with the everyone's eating pizza. That's what I wrote down in my notes. Everybody's eating pizza. Like in the first part, you just some random guy in the street eating pizza. Everybody is. And
there was quasi Ghostbusters music going on, like that New Jack Swing kind of feel to it.
That's just how it is in New York. Everyone lives solely on pizza.
And New Jack Swing.
It did have that Ghostbusters feel though too. You are right. I didn't really think about that, but now that you mention it, it kind of did.
I thought Ghostbusters
immediately reminded me of it.
When it showed the logo and like the secret of the ooze is all green and then it kind of like melts away. I'm like, that is a very late 80s special effect. It's very Ghostbusters.
In 91.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's still like, I don't know, like, and then so the kid that the pizza delivery boy, is he somebody who was a turtle?
Yeah, that's what Ernie Reyes Jr., who he might have, I think he was in the Leonardo suit in the first movie, and I think he actually doubled up in the suits in this one too.
Okay, I think I thought he actually was somebody like, you know, he was in this movie for more than just that one reason.
Yeah, he was a suit actor, and they made the second one like, hey man, you actually want to like talk, and then they let him.
And they let him.
And then 2 years later, he went on to be in another ninja movie, Surf Ninjas.
Yeah, I was hoping you didn't bring that up.
Oh man, I love that movie. That's another one my brother and I watched as kids, just like nonstop. It's still something we quote to this day.
So Ernie Reyes Jr. way later on, I didn't even know it was him, but he played in that one of the movies with The Rock. I don't know if it was Rundown or wasn't, whatever that was. Like wherever,
The Rundown.
Was it Rundown? Yeah, he was in there. Obviously, much older, no hair, still in great physical shape. But it's pretty cool to see him again in there.
He does a good job though in this movie. Like even though his whole like premise, like the whole beginning of him being delivery boy. I mean, I was laughing to the part when he's like, "Hey, which one of you girls want to come with me on the scooter?" And they're like, "None of them do." And he's like, "Well, you're fat anyway."
Oh yeah, I'll do something a little thinner.
1991 fat shaming, love it.
Yeah, no shame at all. Putting that line in there.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't pass these days now.
Oh no.
It was stupid. It made me laugh, and I'm just like, wow, I wasn't expecting this in my Turtles movie.
That was a great way to start it off, for sure. But
it's so funny.
That great line that he has. He goes into going past that alley and just putting the pieces together with vans and TVs, and just happens to go in there to stop a crime. I thought it was very bad premise.
He's just stealing VCRs, you know?
Mm-hmm. This
DVD player. Later on,
theme in the Turtles movies. That happens in the first one too.
Those guys were taking their damn time. He could have went to a payphone, went back to the pizza place, called the cops, or just let the Turtles do what they do or something. I mean, he did not have to get involved in it.
Well, he's also, who was he delivering the pizzas to?
April.
Was it the Turtles? Oh, so it was the Turtles.
Yeah, because he says that she should be buying it wholesale as often as she orders it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that's when he ends up going to the toy store right across the street.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was amusing, how there's a toy store right across the street. And, you know, I think I remember this. Like, I had memories of this part as a kid because this is one of those scenes that always sticks with you. So, like, them being at a toy store and them fighting these stupid guys that are wearing pantyhose on their face.
It's so bad.
I mean, Was that a '90s thing where we just had to? I don't. Did anyone actually ever that really committed crimes ever wear pantyhose over their head? I'm pretty sure not.
It has happened, but I mean, for common in movies at the time, maybe not as much. Yeah. It looked really stupid on screen.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just a way to like reuse the same stunt doubles or the stunt guys over and over again without you being able to tell it's them.
One guy takes off his pantyhose so he can look at Kino. Yeah. I don't think he's like, hey, look, someone's trying to bust us for a crime. We better take off our masks and look at them closer.
What are you, night security?
Like, didn't get
pizza delivery.
Yes. Night security often wears pizza jackets and fries pizza.
But he studies martial arts.
He does kick ass though at first.
No, yeah, he's being a legit martial artist. It looked pretty good, whatever he was doing.
Yeah, the one time in the movie he's allowed to do that.
Well, that and then in the Foot Clan initiation, which we'll get to.
Oh yeah, there was that.
I did enjoy I like how he beats up the 4 or 5 guys and all of a sudden 10 more guys come out of nowhere.
Yeah, there's just dozens of these goons. Like, okay, we're all gonna cram in these 2 vans with all this stuff. So don't fill up on calling back cold cuts.
You have that many goons. Why aren't you loading the trucks faster?
Yeah, those guys are taking their time. That's what I said. Like, this guy could have went to a payphone or back to the shop and called the cops.
And you also think, wouldn't they want to maybe close the doors of your van next time when you're robbing somebody? Like, hey, we're going to shut the doors so if someone walks by, they don't see these vans full of stuff.
Yeah, because when Kino sees it, he's on the sidewalk, on the side of the street, and he just looks into this alley and sees these vans here. It's like anyone walking by would see that shit.
But also, why are they robbing a toy store?
Apparently, that's where they have all the TVs and everything else.
I was thinking about that just now. Like, wait, they got TV stuff in the vans, I'm pretty sure, or boxes of stuff, but they're in a toy store.
It seems it's mostly a mall because Michelangelo is at some kind of food stall when he gets the Slim Jims.
Okay.
Those are 19-inch TVs, too, so nothing to brag about.
Those are heavy-ass TVs. No wonder they had 19 guys.
I think it just focuses on the toy store with Donatello and Michelangelo's little bits coming up.
Okay, the toy store it's still funny. Like, as dumb as a scene as it kind of is, in 2021, it's still hilarious to watch them fight with toys.
Oh, yeah.
The whole using the yo-yo. Get the yo-yo. Look at the yo-yo. Now around the world. I'm just like, so stupid.
So, I was telling my wife, yeah, they really toned down the violence in this. They don't use their weapons. And then he pulls out the yo-yo. I'm said, but that is completely imitatable. I'm kind of surprised they got away with it.
Right.
I'm sure I did that after seeing this movie, just spinning a yo-yo around.
It's one of those...
That really set the tone for the entire movie. You know what you're getting into after that.
And Donatello being a bouncy clown. Yeah.
What? He's just sitting there going back and forth, and he punches the guy or something
he grabs the foam thing. He's like, rah! It's just it's so stupid. I love it.
I was surprised how funny it is still. Because I'm not always into dumb humor, but this was actually this was good dumb humor.
It's pretty great.
I think then they tell Kino, go get go call the police, and everyone just they just leave everybody. Then they have some guy hanging on the ceiling for some reason.
Yeah, Raph's like, we'll start tying them up, and then Kino comes back, and they're all just in a pile. I'm like, they didn't even tie anyone up.
I mean, do you get knocked out that easily too when you get hit with a yo-yo? I don't think that's how it works.
Tough yo-yo.
But it was funny.
It's a yo-yo used by a mutated ninja, so plus 20 damage or something like that.
Yeah.
I do like how this is also, a better origin story in a way, because this whole, movie all wraps into their origin with the TC. Is it what, TCRI?
TGRI in this. I wanted to ask.
TCRI in the comics.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Rich why they changed it to TCRI. Because this was my first
for the movie. They don't do that anywhere else other than this movie, and I think the newer movies they go back to TGRI just as homage or something along those lines.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, comics TCRI.
Okay.
I think the newer the Nickelodeon cartoon also switched back to TCRI.
Mm-hmm.
Techno Cosmic Research Institute.
There you go.
You should follow the comics more than following some odd movie.
Yeah, well.
And I thought they did a good job, with April, too. They give April a lot of... I also didn't realize at first that it's a new actress.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I'm like, that's not the same actress. I think Tiff had said something about it. I wouldn't have noticed. Yeah, Tiff says I wouldn't notice it otherwise, because I just wasn't paying enough attention, I guess, for character. I was like, I was surprised they changed the actress. I guess when we were Googling, Judas Hogg was hard to work with or something. We were worried, so they recast her instead.
Yeah.
This one's pretty, so I'll allow it.
I mean,
she's
pretty close to
better looking overall.
I wouldn't have noticed if it wasn't for internet.
No, she's
Well,
the
the
other
other
one
one
that comes
was-
back for 3.
In the first one, Judith was more of a ginger, though.
Yeah, she had the raincoat though, the yellow jumpsuit,
Yeah.
just totally practical to wear in your daily life.
I mean, I liked her in this movie. I like the way that they use her. I like the whole TCR. Is it TGRI.
TGRI.
Cleaning up the whole chemical spill, and they find giant dandelions. That was funny. Stupid, but really funny to me for some reason.
Even as a kid, I was like, man, that's kind of dumb.
Yeah, gotta move the plot along.
I actually got a kick out of it this time. As an adult, I thought it was hilarious. So they had giant dandelions. The guy breaks one off. And he's like, "We can't let anybody see this." As he goes and runs off with it.
Yep.
I'm just like, maybe. I thought at first they were going to just destroy him and burn him. Hide the evidence. No, his version was take one and run.
We can't let anyone see this. Everyone, look at this.
With news cameras all around. And
Right.
I like that. Like one guy makes a comment too, and he's like, "Why'd you invite the media?" Well, the best place to hide is in plain sight. Which
yeah, okay.
is one of the few logical things in this movie.
We also need to involve April, so here she is.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta get the plot moving.
Oh, and so I didn't realize this before until this most recent watch of the movie. This is only a couple days or a week after the first movie.
I think it's implied that it takes place
after.
right after.
Yeah, like almost days. Like
Okay.
Shredder's going to the dump after being in the garbage truck.
They show the Foot Clan running back like they had just left where they all were.
Yeah,
So
and Tatsu's pissed off breaking stuff because of what just happened.
Yeah, so I felt like it was that same night.
Wow. It could be. That's a lot to happen right after.
Turtles
whatever.
are like, good thing we saw you from the roof. Like, I don't know.
So they didn't get any break after the first movie at all.
Right.
Even though they're having fun and doing dumb stuff in the apartment, they almost got no break at all.
The apartment scenes are funny.
Yeah,
And I like how they add, even though like it's kind of childish, it was actually really hilarious to see them in the apartment with April, like, trying to clean at one point and just being, kind of being stupid in her apartment. Like it was like doing the flips, like, 4 flips for you, Raphael. Like that stuff was funny.
To this day, whenever I'm counting something, I still count it like Michelangelo. 1, 2. I do it at work all the time.
It was just, I'm going to keep saying it, but it was just funny.
What's not funny is the way they carry the pizza boxes. There's no excuse for that. Like, I know it's an empty prop for prop's sake, but you don't carry pizza boxes sideways.
I think that's
Like my wife said, it's sacrilegious. You can't do that.
Maybe they do eat enough pizza.
I agree. Putting pizza boxes sideways is
Yeah,
a horrific sight.
you're gonna have a pile of pizza on one end of that box.
Yeah.
I was really surprised that the professor was not Baxter Stockman. Like, they didn't even go down that road at all.
No, I don't know why they didn't. They could have easily done that.
Well, he had to be a good guy.
I
Yeah.
guess. I mean,
He's not really a good guy.
makes more sense.
Professor Jordan Perry.
Yeah, it's
He's
just odd that they did.
Who doesn't change his clothes at all during this whole movie? He's in the Vanilla Ice concert in his lab coat.
His closet's just like Dexter from Dexter's Lab, where he's just got nothing but lab coats hanging up.
Yep.
Yeah, he's in this movie a lot, too. A lot more than I expected. He shows up all the time.
Yeah, he's the exposition fairy. He's just here to move the plot.
Mm-hmm.
You're not wrong. Not wrong at all.
Most of this movie, I don't think would take place if he wasn't in it.
No, because like you have the whole after you see the scene when you find out about the ooze, and the only reason that Shredder finds out about the ooze is because one of his henchmen who just got the job at working for April runs off and takes a big giant sunflower home.
Yeah,
A dandelion.
he's in 2 scenes.
Frankie is his name. And it's like first day of the job, and I'm like, well, he's Foot Clan. Oh, another thing that made me laugh that I never thought of before, when Shredder first gets back to the new base in the junkyard, he takes his helmet and he puts his helmet on a grinder and sharpens it. I was like, wow, really? Like that's okay.
I did want to talk about Shredder. So after Casey Jones attempts to murder him by crushing him in a garbage truck compactor.
Oops.
Yeah, that's straight up first degree murder. But the only thing he gets is like his face is a little scarred. Apparently, we don't see it. One of the Foot Clan just says his face, and that's it. That's all.
That's it, and they never showed it. I mean, you can vaguely see it, through his face mask, but that's it, and that's not enough.
So you get crushed in a compactor. It just kind of scratches up your face a little bit.
Yeah.
He would have been dead.
Oh yeah, big time. He makes it all the way to the dump. But yeah, just your face. Don't worry about it.
Did you notice how they changed up his outfit to match the cartoon a little more?
That makes
In the
sense.
first one, he had the more reddish burgundy kind of outfit that matched the 80s comics. But in this one, it changed to the purple to match the cartoon.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I didn't think about it, I should say. I liked his costume in this. He was wasn't as threatening as he is in number 1.
Not at all. He is more cartoonish in here and closer to the cartoon in general.
A whole lot in this movie. He just kind of threatened, like, we need to go get that ooze.
And he never fights.
Doesn't.
I mean, not even at the end. You know, he fights wood.
So it's been a while since I've seen the first movie. Is his voice very Darth Vader in that one too? Because man, did they tone up the Darth Vader? If not,
it sort of is in the first one too.
He's very reverby as he talks.
Yeah, it just sounds more like he's underwater in this one than the first one.
Like, I mean, he moved the plot forward. That really felt like his only real purpose, is to tell people where to go.
I wish he just had more of a dominant role in this one. Like he was a pure badass in that first one, over to a cartoonish character in this one.
He's not even in this movie that much, because you see him a few times here and there kind of directing things. I mean, biggest scene is the whole thing with the infants.
Right, and I mean, even when they're like in the turtles like infiltrate the junkyard, he's just standing there, literally like, higher than the foot soldiers, just watching stuff happen. He's not doing a damn thing.
Well, he's got Baby Toka and Baby Razor for that.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, the whole plot line of this movie is for them to get the mutagen in order to make their own version of the turtles.
Mm-hmm. Freak versus freak, as he puts it.
And then he's like, you guys... So they were sent to go find the 2 most vicious animals they can find. And they found a dog and
a wolf and a snapping turtle.
I mean, could have got a alligator, you know. I mean, you would have had to maybe import that, though, I guess.
A rhino and a warthog.
Yeah, that too.
That was my wife's big question. She's like, why didn't they just use Bebop and Rocksteady? And I'm like, well, given the way that these models look, I don't think they could have pulled off Bebop and Rocksteady. Because they look kind of horrendous, especially.
I bet the real reason, though? Toys.
I don't know. Oh,
toys.
well, yeah.
That's a good point.
That's probably the only reason we got Razor and Tokra, because new toys. Or Toka, whatever the hell his name is.
Toka, yeah.
I had their toys.
I did too. I actually have the new ones that NECA came out with last year.
Nice.
I do not. I'm pretty sure they're probably still in my parents' somewhere house. But yeah, I mean, that's all, because I know Tiff had asked me, she's like, why isn't there Bebop Rocksteady? My whole reply was toys. Gotta sell.
It's the only thing that really makes sense besides not being able to pull something off like that. I mean, they had to use animatronics and suits and stuff. Like, now they do it with CG, but I mean, yeah, I don't think they would have pulled it off too good.
Probably wouldn't look good.
Plus, we needed more bosses for the beat 'em up games.
Yeah, that too.
What's the other guy's name? Not Tengu.
Tetsu.
Talk about the bald human guy?
Yes.
Tetsuo.
Okay. The guy that murders people in the first movie is not in this one.
Yeah.
You're okay, right? You just killed him, but he's okay. All right.
He's in Hyperstone Heist. And he explodes when you beat him, like old people do.
I also was when they go to TGRI in this movie, and they
Ralph.
that part. Oh, seeing the computers, it's all old, and I was like,
yeah,
shit's high
tech. It's a bit hard to watch, and it's moving without him pressing any buttons. And
it did make me laugh with the whole ooze, where everything is disposed of one canister. And like, how are they even disposing it? He puts it on a thing and just empties it. I'm like,
that's what I asked my wife. I'm like, where does that go? She's like, you see where it goes. I'm like, no, you see it go through the tube, but where does it end up? It's just in another container somewhere.
Yeah, can't they just go get that? Like, why do they have to get this one thing he didn't empty? Like, I don't get that.
So I got a question though. So if they use that ooze, and it looked like they used a lot to create Toka and Razor, why did Shredder have a full canister at the end of the movie?
I noticed that too.
And then a little vial of it too, not to mention.
Okay, I didn't catch that, but you're right, because like when you see when they put the Toka and Razor in like the cell, in a little cage they're making, like he has a whole he just poured it in there. They only have one canister; it can't be that much.
Can't change the prop.
Yeah.
You probably don't need a whole lot, because when the turtles, I mean, they were just babies that got stepped in it, essentially.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, traditionally, I think it's just as long as you come in contact with it, you're able to mutate and change. But I don't know. It seemed like he used a hell of a lot of it.
Also, the most unbelievable part of this entire movie, if a company like that had something that was a Miracle Grow, they wouldn't be destroying it. They'd be selling it to somebody.
For sure.
You can make a fortune in the diet racket.
Oh, God.
It would have went somewhere. Like, I don't know. I'm just nitpicking, but I thought of that. Like, you know what? I don't. This is unbelievable right here. I'm okay with the turtles, but this part's unbelievable. The company wouldn't want to make money off this. That's what I thought of. It was,
and that right there is the most unrealistic portion of the movie.
It is funny though when they show up and they're holding the canister and they're playing football with the canister, throwing it back and forth.
Yeah. And that's something else that bothered me too. Why did Tatsu come back just to show him the canister, like hold it up, like, hey, look what I got.
I got it over here. This is what you want. Go find me.
Like they were already gone. Like they could have went back to the base with Shredder and just been done with it. But no, they came back like, hey, look what we got.
I wouldn't say they want to get revenge, but they don't really get revenge. They just show them the MacGuffin.
Yeah, that's it.
And isn't this
vanish?
Leo sticks his swords in the ceiling?
He does it at some point, like jumps up and holds on to him.
Like, just slice him with your sword. But
was that the TGRI fight?
I thought
he did that. I thought that was at the beginning when the toy.
I just did it at some point. It was and I laughed. And like even when Donatello has his staff throughout this movie, there's time where he just blocks their weapon and let them hit each other in the face. He doesn't hit them.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm just like, wow. Okay.
So if you're gonna use weapons, make sure they hurt themselves with them. You don't be the one to cause it.
See, kids, this is why you don't swing weapons. You're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah, there's some odd choices in this movie, but
yeah, well, it's fine.
Oh, it's hilarious. I laughed really hard this movie. I wasn't bored. You know what? I enjoyed this movie more than Justice League that we watched. Where was that? It's still enjoyable. And I thought that was something that really surprised me throughout this movie, how much fun I was having. And I really, really laughed at the joke. Because when we were talking about Toka Razor, and I want to go back to that, like when they first pop out the thing, and he's like, he wants monsters. He's like, I'm going to fight you, and we'll see how strong you are. And they're like, Mama? And he's just like, what?
They turn the word master into mama.
Oh, yeah, because he's like, I'm your master. I never thought about that. That's why they say mama.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that's
because there's no way. Like, they haven't really even heard words before that or tried to speak them. So they just changed the master into mama.
So funny, though. And he's like, they're infants. And then I think they're banging each other in the head with like a pipe or something. They're like, well, stupid infants.
And Shredder wants to kill him directly after that. He's like, I can't take this shit.
It's just like murder him.
Yeah, he says, Jordan Perry says, well, they're living creatures. And Shredder's like, not for long. Damn, that's pretty dark for this movie.
Yeah, he pretty much tells Tatsu, like, hey, just take them all back and, do what you gotta do.
Give him the old Yeller bit.
Yeah.
But it's kind of...
Like, that's probably one of the darkest parts of the whole movie. Like, he wants to murder him right then and there.
He's just done with them because they won't do what he wants.
Yeah, we'll try again with the other full canister of ooze that we procured somehow.
They're still useful. I mean, they do a lot in this movie for them. Like, well, kind of.
Well, it could have turned out, differently too, because the professor was stating like, "Hey, we're going too fast on this. They need more time." And they were like, no, cut it off. I want to see where they're at right now. So Shredder himself caused the failed experiment.
Oh, we find out later, too, that Professor, he sabotaged it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
He makes
there's some line where he makes him intellectually inferior, as he puts it.
Oh, okay. Does he say that in the subway?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
When they're trying to come up with the anti-mutagen stuff.
Okay, that part. And is this around the time when Kino goes and infiltrates the Foot Clan?
They're looking for their new lair, and Raph's is like, we should be out there looking for whatever. Shredder, I guess. No, because they don't know Shredder's back yet.
He doesn't even know yet. He doesn't know yet. Yeah. He's the first one to see him physically.
Well, yeah, because he's the whole thing where Kino and nobody sees Raphael just sneaking around. In the garbage area, I wrote that down. I'm like, how does no one notice a giant turtle sneaking around?
Broad daylight.
They do eventually.
Because they just follow. It was cool to see Kino get actually more screen time. Like, he got to do something else in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he didn't, he got to go and you get, but I also like when they're doing the whole try out, like what's the chance that they would really let them put gloves on? You think they'd just be fighting like straight up just fighting?
Yeah.
I felt like they wouldn't have been allowed gloves.
I think it's more the kid-friendly stuff. You can't have them just punching each other.
Did you guys notice when they're outside of or when that guy's talking to them in a group and he's saying like, well, this is what you got to do for the tryout, or if you don't, you fail. Like Michael Jai White is in that group.
He is?
That is? Yeah, he's in that group. That's one of his early roles.
It's funny. He doesn't do anything in that part. He's just there then.
He doesn't do a damn thing. He's just an extra. But he's a legit martial artist. Like they should have really used him, I feel, at least in that part a little more.
I wonder if they had planned, but then it got taken off for some reason.
It may be. I mean, why else have him in there? I mean, this guy's a legit martial artist. I would assume they had more plans for him, at least for that part.
Yeah, maybe the studio got involved too, like, no, too violent.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, I'm learning. Studios really get involved sometimes with movies and really cut stuff out. I mean, they can get bad in some movies. I mean, look at Justice League, for example. I mean, you want to see what a studio did to a movie, you watch the Zack Snyder cut, you'll see what a studio did to the movie. Okay, that's cool. I never knew that was Michael J. White in there.
Nope.
Because he was in that Mortal Kombat thing, right? That came out, the web series.
Yeah, he was in that too. Yeah. Okay. His first big starring role was that Spawn movie that came out.
Yeah, how that
late '90s.
John Leguizamo.
It's not a good movie.
It's really not.
I enjoy the Kino scene though. Like it's very interesting. I thought seeing him fight. Like he does fight pretty good though. Looks like a pretty good martial artist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I did like that.
I don't get the bell test. I don't care how great of a ninja you are. You're not moving those bells without making them ring.
And not in that time frame. Like if you sit there and meticulously take them off, maybe, but not in that speed.
You can't do it fast, I feel like.
No.
Oh, you got all these dumpy other guys standing around. It's like all these guys passed the test. Like, no, I don't believe it.
And the whole time it's just Raphael's the one that did the test. You see him hiding in the background.
Oh yeah, we work in concealment. It's a good thing, otherwise you would have been screwed for this whole plan.
Yeah, because he would have probably failed the bell test, or they might have seen somebody else walking over. They're like, "Hey, what are you doing there?" Big turtle.
Did you guys pay attention to the Foot Clan extras throughout the entire movie? Like they are so bad. Like when there's a fight going on, they have like that beat 'em up game syndrome where they're just kind of waiting in the background, and they might jump in and try to fight. But like the whole time, they're like kind of moving just their arms like putties and Power Rangers. It's so weird.
I didn't notice that. Oh, that's funny though. I'm not surprised because I mean they were very much extras, like big time extras.
Imagine the fight choreography in those big turtle suits is probably hard to pull off. So we're just gonna fight one or two guys at a time.
Yeah, and then they gang up on Raphael at that point.
And this is the second time in 2 movies that they've done that with Ralph.
But they don't beat him up like they do in the first movie. They just kind of like all hold him down. The next thing you see him, he's tied up to a pole.
Oh yeah, in the first one they put him in a coma.
Yeah,
there's a difference.
Pretty much kill him.
It's not a Ninja Turtles movie unless Raph is off on his own somewhere, because it happens in the CGI one too.
It does. That's how it starts off. He's missing.
Yeah, and then the third one is Michelangelo for some reason. We're gonna mix it up. We're still gonna do this bit, but it's gonna be a different turtle.
I will say I did like a lot of Michelangelo lines in this one.
They were hilarious. He had actually really good quotes. Like I didn't write down the quotes because I thought I could look them up, which I can't. But they're funny.
Go on IMDb. You might find some.
I was really enjoying all the dumb lines in this movie constantly. And Michelangelo, he doesn't really get to fight, but he does do a lot of good funny scenes of just talking.
Yeah. He has lines that not only the kids can enjoy, but even adults too. I mean, it works out pretty well.
Yeah, referencing the Karate Kid, wax on, wax off.
That was funny too.
Mouth.
Look at he's an idiot.
I mean, the voices did change in this movie. Donatello changed. Raphael changed. That was the biggest change for me that bothered me, though. Like, I didn't like the change to Raphael's voice. I thought the original actor was way better in that role.
Yeah, I wonder if he came off as too gruff.
And he probably did.
He's not allowed to say "damn" anymore.
Right.
Yeah, he could. I mean, I didn't really notice it. Tiffin made a comment that they weren't the same like voice actors. I'm like, I don't know.
Donatello, and the first one was Corey Feldman.
Yeah. He's fine.
I actually like for Donnie. I actually like the voice change. I thought it was more fitting.
Yeah, and they gave him more to say. I don't feel like he had a whole lot of lines in the first one.
Right.
This one, he's always in the back making some kind of comment.
That and he, with the professor having a bigger role, he was engaging Donatello obviously a lot more.
Gotta get the smart people together.
So they fight Toka and Razor twice, right? This movie?
Yeah, they got their ass kicked in the junkyard, and then they escape through the sewer with Jordan Perry. Yeah.
The junkyard scene, that's where they get caught in the net, where he like, if you were gonna do a trap, it'd be right about. He looks at his watch here and get in the net. And I'm like,
that must have been a very well hidden net. And they're looking like he's looking down too, like at his wrist. He would have saw that damn net.
Yeah. Good thing Splinter was there, else there were 3 dead turtles.
I mean, the whole way of killing the turtles was to take them in a net, raise them a bunch of spiky objects they found in the junkyard and drop them on them.
Yep, you got it. It's like, we don't even need Toka and Razor. We're just going to drop them on the sharp stuff.
If you were explaining this movie to somebody that never saw it and they saw the cartoon, they would think you're explaining the cartoon to them.
It's very much a cartoon.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I think that's kind of like I guess I didn't realize that.
That's exactly what they were going for. I mean, think about how even the comics kind of changed too around that time. You're talking about like TMNT, like Adventures, Archie comics, where things lightened up way too much.
When I was a kid, I really liked the Adventures, and then so when I was an adult, like 5 years ago, I went and bought a bunch of those comics. I'm like, I can't wait to read these. I started opening them. I'm like, oh my god, and that was as far as I got.
So you only became an adult 5 years ago?
I only refound them 5 years ago.
I'm sure Tiff would argue that he hasn't really made it there yet.
I forgot about comics, but I put comics in my wall. Does that count?
No, I couldn't read Adventures now. I mean, I do miss like Mondo Gecko from back in those days and some of the stuff they introduced, but I couldn't go back to them.
I mean, I can read that Turtles comic that we read what is it?
IDW, yeah.
That we did an episode on. Those are freaking good, but like
I'm still reading them and they're still great. They're waiting for you.
At some point we'll do parts of those, but someday.
Man, there's so much to talk about in those. It gets wild, man. Some things you would never anticipate they would put in the series have happened.
You'll be on when we do them, so you're our turtle guy. But I think some other scene, like when I enjoyed the whole junkyard scene with them almost getting impaled by tools, and then one arrow for some reason.
Sharpened bumpers or something.
Yeah, they're hanging over this pit of spikes, and then Splinter shoots the rope, and they fall and land next to it somehow. I guess the wind caught them as they fell.
So where was Leonardo's ties at this time?
He wasn't allowed to use the swords.
Not even on a damn rope?
Nope, no swords.
Get your arm out of my face.
I was also thinking, couldn't they just go inside their shell and protect themselves that way? Because they go inside their shell at one point in this movie. When someone gets thrown, he goes in the shell and he's a bowling ball, and you can hear like the stupid sound that you would hear with a bowling ball.
Yeah, the pins dropping.
God, the sound effects are hilarious in this movie. Cartoon. I forgot that they rescued the scientist and took him into sewers, and that's the antidote.
Yeah. He's like, actually, I'd rather not.
The antidote was,
he'd rather stay there and possibly die and be kidnapped than go in that sewer.
Go in a New York sewer system.
I mean, we don't have anyone from New York in this podcast, but maybe New York sewer systems are pretty bad.
Well, I think it's notoriously bad.
I hear the sewers in Connecticut are nice. I'm just going to keep throwing out quotes from the movie as we go.
Hey, that's what we're here for.
That's all I'm here for.
But they still work. Still funny.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I think that's also a test of this movie is that, we're watching this as adults, and even though all three of us are big Turtles fans, it was still the whole movie was fun. We haven't gotten to my favorite part yet, but every part I was just like, oh, I'm in. I mean, like, I'm having fun. Having a lot of fun. I actually was really surprised at my favorite part of this movie. Really surprised me.
Mike, I have that Super Shredder, by the way, you put in the chat.
The NECA toy? I think NECA. Sure.
Yeah, it's NECA.
Nickelodeon owns Turtles now.
Yep.
I have comments when we get the Shredder. When we get the Super Shredder. I got things to say, but we're not there yet. I think I do want to talk when they're doing the anti-mutagen, they have the big pot and he's like stirring the pot, and at one point he drops pizza in the pot.
I always wondered if that's what caused the other mutants to burp later on, if it was that unaccounted for pizza slice.
Just the pepperoni, man. Acid reflux.
Pepperoni heaven. It'll get you every time.
Like, how does he just drops it in? Like, and then I think he tells them like to mix the pot or something, and they're just sitting there using like a little like it wouldn't do anything.
It's an egg.
So they got like a bottle of Pepto-Bismol, pizza, like all kinds of weird shit they're throwing in there.
And their whole plan is to stop Token Razor, is to give them donuts.
Who can give me history on that Bart Simpson cup? Because they feature that prominently.
Oh yeah, he's
throughout
right
all
up there.
those scenes.
But Fox didn't own this.
So I don't understand. I don't get it at all.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, they're like,
Times and Simpsons
it's
were huge at that time, but still.
Yeah, that was an odd one to me. Because I mean, I could see if this is a Fox property or something, but I don't think Simpsons it's always been Fox until it became Disney.
Right.
So I don't get why they did that whole cup unless it's just, hey, we're the 90s. Look, haha.
20th Century Fox produced The Simpsons and distributed this movie, so there is some kind of connection there. And they both say cowabunga, according to this random message.
I forgot about that.
Oh, but you have to say, one of the best lines in the movie, when they're rescued by Splinter, Leo says, "That's right, Shredder, you forgot, we carry insurance." Yeah, mutual Splinter, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I laughed.
But the best line in the entire movie and all of cinema is at the beginning of this junkyard scene. They're sneaking in. It's like, yeah, it's quiet. A little too quiet. And then Donnie takes out the two guards. So that was easy. Yeah, a little too easy. Look, it's Raph. Yeah, a little too Raph. It's just the best.
I love that part. I love it.
Oh, man, it makes me double over every time.
That's exactly what I'm talking about with Michelangelo's lines. Like, that was great.
We take off the tape and he starts yelling at him to put the tape back on.
Yeah, let me get these first.
When he takes the tape off the scientist, he's like, "Oh, that hurts." He's like, "I'm not good at this." Like, it's just and so I know. Where do they fight? Oh, because they meet Razor and Tok'ra because Shredder tells him he's going to release them into Central Park, and they're like, "Where there's lots of people." They make that comment too.
Yeah.
And aren't they like some kind of construction place where they meet them? But a construction yard that's being built right next to a club, like next
to some docks. Yeah.
And a club.
Well, the club is like right outside some docks.
Yeah, but climbers are.
The club must be in like an abandoned warehouse or something.
Yeah, and they're having a concert. Like, was it a unsolicited concert, like an underground concert or something? Like,
I mean, it is Vanilla Ice, so maybe it wasn't.
Who's this Vanilla Ice guy? Let's go see his concert in this abandoned warehouse.
Hey, this was actually my favorite part of the movie.
God.
It really was.
You like the choreographed dances in there?
I had questions about the hair. Because the hair.
What is your question?
Vanilla Ice's hair?
Oh, well, Vanilla Ice hair and the people dancing, their hair.
Oh, here's the 90s. There's the answer to all questions.
High tops were actually very popular around that time.
I don't like
91, that. 90s, early 90s. What was that?
You just cut out for that entire thing.
Well, as Rich knows, I don't really like rap music at all. And that type, but I really enjoyed Go Ninja Go.
The song that, as my wife put out, that he basically comes up with on the spot when he sees turtles fighting. It's like, oh, I can write a song about this right now.
Hey, it's really.
And he has a dance to go along with it. All the other guys with him know it immediately.
I mean, it's a whole fight scene that is mostly just played for laughs because they already fed them the donuts and it didn't work, and they're just running around this club trying to fight each other while he's singing.
Yeah, get those pre-fight num-nums.
Oh, but I think what the hell was that one part of the dance where they all like grab the microphones in front of them and look like really dumb? I was like, oh. I remember that. I was like, okay, I'm like this.
It's the 90s. Gotta love it.
But the song's still good. Oh, I'm pretty sure, right, Rick? I'm assuming the song wasn't even good back then. Ninja Rap?
Oh God, no. I mean, it was meant for kids. It was like no real hip hop enthusiast is gonna back that song. I mean, it's purely for fun. Purely for the movie. It's not like you're going to blast this on the radio in your car somewhere.
It's better than anything in the Out of Their Shells tour that the Turtles did.
Honestly, yes. This is 1,000 times better than anything in there.
And when I was watching this, because Tiff was watching this movie with me, but then she got tired and went to bed. And right after she went to bed, shortly after she just heard this, she's like, I missed the best part of the movie. I'm like, you did, actually. I can't believe I wasn't like, I knew because I've seen this movie before, so I knew this part was coming. I'm like, this is a dumb part, but I'm like, I'm sitting here and I'm singing along with the stupid song, and I'm like, wow, I'm actually into this.
I will say that a lot of adults now, even people that are even a little bit older than me, we might even be at a bar or something like that, and they will say it, and I'm like, I don't get it. Like, it's stuck with people for a long time.
Pretty crazy.
It's very amusing for some reason. Like, it's just a really fun little part. I mean, you got action, you got comedy, you got a song that somehow is good, but not at the same time.
You've got teenage turtles trying to suffocate a giant wolf and snapping turtle.
Yeah.
I mean, they do shove a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, they're straight up just cutting off the oxygen. Those things are they're one step from death's door.
I'd rather see somebody get hit with a nunchuck. I mean, that. So have a kid do that with a fire extinguisher. See how that goes.
I will say that would probably be less violent because a fire extinguisher is something real that you could be doing.
Yeah.
The chance of you having a nunchuck.
You see that when you go to any public building, your school, doctor's office, you're going to see that fire extinguisher, and you can rip that thing off and do what you want.
Dumbass who did it out there. I guarantee some dumbass I grabbed. Like, I'm gonna after this movie.
Damn it, Florida man! Got to ruin it for everyone.
It was too. Not the dumb shit seems to happen there for some reason.
Oh yeah. At least it's where
that's
most
the
of their dumb
shit.
Yeah, that's the one that gets the most spotlight.
I also have forgotten how late this part in the movie is. The whole ninja rap thing.
Yeah, it
wraps up pretty quick.
Like 15 minutes.
Yeah, and they go on the stage too and dance.
Yeah,
and
man.
They do that. Yeah.
Practice the art of invisibility.
And somebody's like, "Whoa, cool costumes, man!
I love this place."
Shredder becomes a victim of a sound wave.
Yeah, he gets Marty McFly right out of there.
Yeah.
Or the whole part where the guy's like, "Call the police," and he's like, "They love him. Don't call the police. Tell them to go away." I was enjoying all that.
A lot of ponytails in this movie.
Oh yeah, he's got that 90s club owner rat tail. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The 90s. Everyone had a ponytail in the 90s, right? Apparently.
Even one like the camera guy, I think, had a damn ponytail at one point.
That was the style. I'm assuming, even though I wasn't very old enough to know better and know much in the 90s.
Well, that portion of the 90s, at least.
Yeah, early 90s. Oh, and then so after they throw Shredder out the window, or did he ooze on him? Then he still had that one canister that never got emptied somehow.
He's got.
He had the vial too, right? Yeah. No, the big canister got knocked out of his hand by Kino.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So how the hell do you fall in the water, get spit with the canister, and then your armor also grows with it?
Science.
That was my question. I'm like, okay, wait, his armor? I'm like, this was not the armor he was wearing when he fell in here.
Definitely wasn't.
It got scienced.
I don't think that's not how science works. I've been watching a lot of Big Bang Theory. I know science now. I don't know. I just thought about that. Like, hey, his armor is not like this, and I never really thought about it. But Rich is right what he said earlier. He doesn't even fight the turtles in this movie. He just breaks wood.
Yeah.
He fights the pier.
He kills himself. Suicide. He fights himself until he dies.
And also, what kind of dock has a dock underneath the dock to hold up the other dock? I mean, I've been on docks, and usually docks don't come with a dock underneath the dock to hold up the dock where you can fight on the dock. It's not how.
Hey, we heard you like docks.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
It was just like I was like questioning it, like, why is there a dock underneath? Why is there a dock underneath the dock? I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I feel they could have been a little more creative with that whole entire part. Like, cut down the concert BS, focus more on this epic showdown.
Part.
And it didn't have to be a dock either. I don't know whose a great idea that was.
It's so they can jump in the water at the end.
Well, hey, they got a great line. I love being a turtle after we just watch someone get murdered or commit suicide.
They should have known what Turtles in Time did and make him so he can shoot like Hadouken fireballs and whatnot.
And then fall off the.
He was more of a badass than Turtles in Time.
He was.
Got badass in this part. Hey, but they sold a lot of toys though. I bet.
Oh yeah.
I have that.
And old Kevin Nash got to be Super Shredder.
That was Kevin Nash.
You're damn right.
Yeah.
Yeah. For that one scene.
Yeah, and he's got one line.
There's pictures out there with his helmet off, and he's got kind of like the black eyeliner kind of deal on. You can see it's him in the suit.
Cool. I only know who he is vaguely because you introduced me to wrestling different times. I vaguely know.
If you look at the credits, his name is right there. Super Shredder.
Weird little scene.
Yeah, he's still cool.
And then Shredder never comes back then in Discontinuity, does he? Because
he's mentioned at the end of TMNT, where Cry says that they're going to have to face ghosts of their past. And they're like, does she mean? And they don't actually say it, but yeah, it's implied to be Shredder.
Okay.
So assuming that's the same continuity.
Show back up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the animated one is the same. It's a sequel to the third movie.
Is it though? I don't know if that's confirmed.
Yeah, it's confirmed. I'm pretty sure.
Oh wow. I mean, it was a good movie. I actually like that movie.
We're gonna cover it eventually after 3.
Oh god, that's gonna be terrible. But I need to watch it again.
The hideout is really cool when they find the old subway hideout.
Mm-hmm.
Did they take over?
It does the job. I didn't mind it.
And I know it's
Maybe
essentially for
something
later on in the movie. I mean, the third movie where it really kind of plays a part. Third movie's about time travel, right?
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, hey, I'm glad to know I learned a fact that a wrestler I never knew who he was played Super Shredder. So.
Yeah.
Hey, if he was ever at a convention, I might meet him now, maybe, or have him sign something just because. Super Shredder.
It's called Shredder.
Was that his only acting role ever, Kevin Nash?
No, he's done.
No,
he's
in
done
he's been in a few things. He was in the Longest Yard remake with a bunch of other wrestlers.
Mhm,
They were all
yeah.
the guards.
I guess if you wrestle, you already know how to act, so you know.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, he's in that Dead or Alive movie I really want to watch for the show.
Oh yeah.
Well, he plays Bass, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh wait, I forgot you're a fan of Dead or Alive, aren't you, Rich?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I'm not a big fan of it, but yeah, I don't mind it.
Okay. At some point, we're gonna do the movie on this show because I really want to watch the movie. I need an excuse.
I have not seen it, so I'd be open to that one.
I've seen it. It's fine. All the actresses are super hot, so that helps.
Yeah, I think that's all the movie has going for it.
Did you get up to Smallville, the part with the chick that can teleport? Alicia, I think her name is.
Yep. I saw the two parts with her in it. Yeah.
She plays Helena in that movie. My brother and I were big fans of Sarah Carter because she's smoking hot.
At one point, it's going to be on the show for sure. It just hasn't happened yet, but someday, once I finish doing MCU movies someday. So, any other shit we should cover in Secret of the Ooze that we haven't mentioned?
Probably.
No,
Just throw quotes out there the rest of the next hour.
There was suit differences in this one.
Okay.
They did.
Oh yeah. The animatronics kind of get worse in each movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It gets worse each one. And at the beginning, just Jim Henson was already passed on by this time. I think they still might have been involved for this movie, but there was a noticeable change in how everybody looked.
Yeah, they have an opening credit towards the beginning. The Jim Henson Studios Productions, whatever.
When did he die again? I should know this.
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, the first movie came out, 90? This one was 91, so in between there, somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, because they did a good job, though. I mean, I thought the suits looked fine. I didn't really notice there was a difference.
Well, you could tell in the faces most. Like, you know what? One thing that was cool that I noticed. I never noticed this as a kid, maybe because I was watching on something lesser than those really cool 19-inch color TVs that they had. But Raph had like scarring on his shell. There was nicks and scarring in there. Everybody else's shells were relatively normal, no damage done. But Raph had like battle damage on his.
Well, from the first movie.
Well, I mean, whether it's the first movie or just they're just trying to show him as a rougher character, tried to give him a little something different.
If they just would have had him use his size, that would have worked too, though.
Maybe save him from getting his ass beat so much.
Not use his size much at all, this movie.
At all.
That's my
only thing he stabbed was pizza.
He catches that pizza.
That was my only complaint, though, that they don't use their weapons at all. Enough.
Jim Henson died in May of 1990, for those who are interested.
Okay. Oh, so right after the first one, then. Around the time of the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anything else we should mention about this movie. Oh, I did want to talk about Razor, where I never noticed that he's wearing a hub, like he has a hubcap for a shield, and he's wearing a radiator piece or a front piece of a car. Old car as a chest piece. I do like that. The Armory Junkyard stuff.
I don't even know where they gave him that shield.
Token, that was completely useless. He didn't even use it.
No, they sold toys of it though.
I think when Raphael tries to jump kick him, he like blocks it with that, and that's it.
Yeah, they're still cool though.
Speaking of Token Razor, like they keep introducing all these other like mutants and turtles and things. It's like, why was Slash not used? Slash was super cool. Then again, if you're going for cartoony, they would have been a waste.
Yeah, but also
he's more intelligent too.
Yeah.
Wasn't Slash later too though?
No, Slash came out in the original comics.
Also, he already would have been out then by this time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think maybe with the movie they were trying to do their own thing and stay away from the comics, even though they were borrowing heavily from the fact that the Turtles existed.
Yeah. Right.
So it was more a different time. We didn't want to use the source material. Like, oh, we're better than that. We'll make our own stuff.
Well, I mean, I did like that they explored the Turtles' origins. I'm glad they went in a totally different direction than they did in the first one. They had something to focus on. But
no rat training the cage.
Right.
Jeez. Mimicking his master's martial arts.
Which isn't that from the comics?
The original ones, yeah. The Turtles in this one, they're following that origin story. They actually pretty early on. If I remember right, in the original comics, ended up kind of just discovering like TCRI and their origin, and they kind of went through that already too. So they are still borrowing from those original comics in a way too.
Issue 6. It's issue 6 or 7. It's really early when they introduce that arc. When the splitter goes missing.
Yeah, you see.
And you find out they're all robots, and then they're not robots, and then they're little aliens inside robots. Yeah.
Yeah, you get into Krang's and Neutron.
That's when you put down the book.
Yeah, it gets weird. I mean, when it comes to Turtles and sci-fi, I'm not always the biggest fan of the mix at all.
I never realized how heavy science fiction the original Turtles book is. It's really heavy sci-fi, real fast.
Just their origin to begin with. I mean, that ooze and everything. The cool thing about IDW is they mix everything very well. Like the feudal Japan stuff, the sci-fi stuff, they mix it up very, very well.
Yeah, we'll definitely cover more Turtles. IDW.
The accident that made the Turtles is supposedly the same one that gave Daredevil his powers.
That too.
Is that like a joke? I mean, I know it's not real, but is that like somewhere in the comic or something? Like,
I think it's something. I would assume it was Eastman or Laird that said it. That's what they had originally intended.
The first comic was kind of like a parody,
and then the foot being a mock-up of the hand from Marvel.
Yeah. I didn't think about that. That makes perfect sense, though. Anything else you guys want to say about the movie? I think we're kind of getting there.
I think that's kind of it.
Okay, let's go to shelf, stack, or box. And Mike, since it's your pick, why don't you go first?
Shelf, obviously. Like, I love this movie. It's one my brother and I used to watch all the time, probably more than the other two. But I don't know, man. It's like you said, it's crazy that it holds up as adults, like it did when we were kids. I think we covered it pretty well. It's still something I'll go back and watch time and time again. It's great.
It probably won't be that much longer before you watch it again, huh?
Probably watch it before we do 3, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's might be a year. The way we go.
Yeah. And
how about you, Rich?
Yeah, I think this one's obvious for me, but maybe. But no, I would definitely shelf this. This movie here was such a big part of my childhood that it's something that even if it is bad in a lot of parts, it's something I can't let go and something that I'll want to revisit, time after time just to kind of relive those moments. Like I played this shit out of the VHS tape that I had on this. And I remember the Burger King like commercials before the movie started and all that. So yeah, I would definitely shelf it.
Okay. I actually was torn on this one. This one's I wasn't sure what to think because I was enjoying the movie, but I was like, I don't know. But when I got to the club scene, which I knew was coming, and I started singing along with a dumb song I didn't even know and getting all into the movie and kind of like, it's going on a shelf for me because of that scene. And I don't know why, but that scene was great. And it shouldn't have been because I'm not into that type of music. I'm not into that, but it was great. I don't like Vanilla. He's an idiot.
No,
the scene was great. So going on the shelf because I really enjoyed it. And it's not too long, only 88 minutes. That's enough time for this movie.
Oh man. Given the movies we've been watching lately, this was, as Bill would say, a treat. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. It really was. It was short, it was sweet, it was entertaining, it was hilarious. So yeah.
Like how the colors somehow looked washed out and oversaturated at the same time. Like, I don't know what it is. I feel like the bandanas are way brighter than everything else.
They are, especially Michelangelo's. That's like a highlighter orange.
Yeah, they felt brighter than the original movie. And I mean, this movie seemed bright to me because I've been watching Zack Snyder's Justice League, so everything seems bright to me right now.
Well, besides, it's a stark contrast from the first one, right? The first one was gritty as hell, dark. This one, they really tried to change the image of it.
First one is really violent, too.
Mm-hmm.
This one is not that violent. Nobody gets put in a trash can, even though a guy does commit suicide by fighting wood and losing. So,
Kino gets put in a trash can at the beginning.
Oh my god. And he can't get out of it. Like, come on now. A guy who freaking can jump kick somebody in the face and do the moves he does can't get out of a trash can.
Yeah, that bothered me.
It bothered me too. But they must have been writing him, okay, what are we going to do with this character? Well, let's put him in a trash can so he can't get out. Yeah. Okay. Okay. They put in the script, there it goes. But hey, it's a kid's movie.
Yeah.
Well, the first one is not a kid's movie. This is 100% a kid's movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I would say what we're introducing next movie we do, but I have no idea what the next movie we do will be.
Nope, no idea.
I know at some point we got to do the Power Rangers film, the Ooze one.
Oh, the original?
That's a good one.
Not a good one or a good one?
Yes.
Both.
Both is correct.
Answer yes.
I remember that movie being entertaining.
Entertaining, yeah. I don't know that I'd call it
It
good.
is. Yeah, I mean...
The newer one, that was actually a good movie.
Yeah. The new one's a good movie.
It was passable enough for me. Like, if you completely try to separate what they came from and accept it for what it is, yes.
And all that beautiful Krispy Kreme ad placement.
Yeah.
All right, and I think it's about time to start wrapping this episode up because we'll just start talking about something else. So, if you enjoyed this, we do have surprisingly only 3 other Turtle episodes on this show.
Now.
Yeah, that's going to have to change. We did Turtles in Time for episode 44, which Rich was on. We did the 1990 film, which is film 7, if you go through our thing. And then we did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles IDW Origin comic episode 19. So if you need more Turtles, God, we don't have enough Turtles on the show. I don't
You
understand.
need more.
Yes, we do. There's some really good Turtles games I really want to play. Like, there's some GBA ones that are really good.
Yep.
Yeah, that about. So, why am I stumbling on plugs? I don't understand. Definitely check those out. If you enjoyed this episode, we got tons of other film episodes that we have done, and we're going through the MCU. So, definitely go listen to those. There's lots of them. I don't even know what we're going to be at this point. I'm not even going to try to guess. So, check those out. And we do comics. We do games. Games are our bread and butter, so definitely go follow our game episodes. And if you enjoyed this, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We're on YouTube finally. And give a shout out to our awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Bobby, a.k.a. Mike Tony from ZP Bite the Bullet, Songs the Cool Kid Squad. And the last thing I should say, we have a Patreon now. So if you want to support us, please go over to our Patreon. You see a link in the show notes. You can throw us a buck or two. We have nothing special happening yet, but I figured I should start a Patreon. So there's a Patreon. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it, but it exists. I know we have plans, but we haven't talked about them yet. So yeah, you can sign and give us money. I don't expect you to, or don't, but you can if you want to. And we'll do something with it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's all we got.
Yeah,
We'll see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.